All right, guys, welcome to the domain flipping masterclass. So I'm going to let a few more people get on here. Thanks everyone for working with me. I pushed it back till today just to make sure I get everything in here that I wanted to. Unfortunately, today I'm just not feeling the greatest, so I'm gonna push through because I don't want to push it back anymore. So all right, let's get into it. Take breaks as needed. I don't know. I don't know that we'll need more than one, but we'll just see how long it goes, depending on how fast I get through it, and then questions and stuff as well. So, any questions you have, put them in the Q&A box. If you've never used Zoom, there should be an option near the bottom of your app somewhere for Q&A. And all the questions will get answered at the end. And the recording I will shoot out to everybody as soon as Zoom makes it available to me. So, got to include the disclaimer. Like, I feel like people should know this, but either way, gotta say it. So, are you gonna make $1,000 in the next 24 hours just because you purchased this? Definitely not. I've said this in a couple other trainings before, but purchasing a shovel doesn't automatically get you the hole in the ground. You still have to do the digging. So basically, if you want results, you still have to put the work in. Just understand that what I'm teaching you works, but you got to do what I'm telling you to do. That's really what it comes down to. So, and I can't guarantee any kind of income. That's just the typical disclaimer. So here is the outline that we will be covering everything today. I'm just going to basically put it all up there so you guys can see it. So the overview, we're going to be talking some real beginner type stuff, like definitions of things, because I want to make sure that every single person that goes through this is not just lost from the start. If you're an absolute beginner, then I want to make sure that you know every single thing from the beginning. That way, you're not confused, and this is like a pointless course to go through if you're just lost the whole time. So that's basically what the overview will be, but it also include an overview of a little more about domain flipping, a little bit of background info, and then we will jump into the myths. So myths of the typical myths about domain flipping, people what people think, but just that it's really not the truth. And then we'll go into mistakes. I want I put a lot of thought into the organizational structure of this training and the way that the order that I'm teaching this stuff, because I feel like you need to hear those things, myths and mistakes first, before you get into the strategy. And the strategy here, that is going to be basically the learning training chunk of this master course. The tools and selling they're there. But to be honest, the biggest thing is strategy. And I feel like a lot of people think selling is the hardest part. Like, how am I going to be able to sell my domain name? And once we get into the strategy, I think that you're gonna be able to understand really how easy it is when you just have something that pretty much sells itself. All you got to do is show people it's available. And like I said, Q&A at the very end. So as you think of something, put it in the Q&A box if you're on here live. And if you're not on here live, if you're watching the recording, you got questions, feel free to email me at my Gmail address. That's just the email address that I pay the most attention to. So if you've been emailing me on anything else and haven't gotten a response, that's the reason why. That's my Gmail, dustin.mcgrory@gmail.com is my main email address. So questions you can send there, even if you are on here live and you think of something later, feel free to shoot them to me. All right, let's jump into the overview here. So one thing I forgot to mention earlier too, this is not like a very visual method or strategy, unfortunately. So this, I'm going to apologize in advance because I feel like this is going to be a very boring training. Just looking at black and white slides, there are a couple pictures here and there, but you know, if I can get you over to a website and show you how to do something, I might. It's just not really a very like step-by-step type of thing. It's literally a very simple process. So we might blow through this pretty quick. The biggest thing I want you to take away, though, again, is going to be the strategy stuff. So if you're able to, if you're on here live and you kind of know a lot of the stuff, but you don't understand what I'm talking about as far as strategy, that's where you want to pay the closest attention. And that's in the middle of this training. So that's going back here. You can see right in the middle. That's really where your money is going to be, you know, get your money's worth out of this masterclass. All right. So again, like I said, we're going to start at the very beginning. What is a domain name? According to Cloudflare, domain name is a unique, easy to remember address used to access websites such as google.com and facebook.com. Like I said, I want to make sure everybody knows from the start what they are getting into, every single aspect of this. That way we're all on the same page when we get to the strategy part. How do you purchase a domain name? Domains can be purchased by literally anybody using one of the many domain registrars online, which I will share the recommended ones later on. This is actually a myth as well, but I don't think I put it in the myth section, that people think you can't buy a domain unless you're a business, which is just weird. As a marketer, I guess we just kind of learn very early on that anybody can buy a domain name. How much does it cost? On average is around $10, $15 annually. Purchase and hold domain name according to domain.com. So what is domain flipping? According to GoDaddy, domain flipping is the practice of buying a domain name as cheaply as possible. Then without doing anything with the domain, you'll sell it to an interested party for more than you originally paid. The best comparison is to real estate. So just like you can flip a house by buying it cheap, you could sell it for more. You can flip a domain. That's the simplest form of domain flipping. Nowhere in here does it say to buy a domain and to hold it for 20 years and then sell it, right? Buy it as cheaply as possible, then without doing anything, sell the domain to an interested party. This is where we, in the myth section here, we're going to be getting into like one of the biggest myths, because people feel like they have to buy and hold domains forever, or they've got to spend money and age them, or I'm not age them, spend money on SEO to boost rankings for them or get backlinks for them without doing anything. So just remember that as we go through this. How much can you make flipping domains? That's a pretty open-ended question, but average price of a domain name sold in the secondary market, which secondary market is meaning after somebody already owns a domain and then they are relisting it, reselling it, that is secondary. Buying a domain from someone who already owns it is in thousands of dollars. Again, this is GoDaddy, who, and am I a fan of GoDaddy? Not really. But in the domain area, they are experts. Just because they've been around a very long time. They've got data, is really the best way to put it. They've got the most data, I feel, of anybody in the domain space. to be able to tell, um, how domains are flipped, sold, what happened to them in between buying and selling. So I trust their data over a lot of other places. So here's another something else I wanted to just throw in here, which kind of I don't know, the top 5 most expensive domain names publicly recorded. Again, from GoDaddy. This actually came from, you can see the top 20 most expensive domain names. I just concluded the top 5. Some of the other ones are, a lot of the one word domains are, you're just not ever gonna be able to get into that game. These are the people that have either bought and bought very in the 90s, bought it and held it forever, or spent millions of dollars to buy it and now are selling it again. The one thing I want you to take away from this, though, it's just like, imagine owning like vacationrentals.com and $35 million, privatejet.com, 30 million. Like, there are tons and tons and tons of other niches similar to these 2-word domain names: car insurance, 2-word vacation rentals, 2-word domain names that are available for you to buy right now for $8. I'm going to show you a couple of them here later on, but just imagine purchasing those and then immediately listing them for sale at even a fraction. Like, what if you just sold it for $100,000? Like, it's a crazy game, but the opportunities are astounding. And is this worth, like, how do they come up with these numbers? How do they come up with 30.18 million for just literally a holding space online? All they're buying is the name. It's a branding, a vanity type thing. And that's that's the third part of the strategies. There's 3 different strategies that I'm going to tell you to do all at the same time. And this is the third strategy involved. So just wanted to put those up there to kind of let you know, like, tons and tons of money is being exchanged. And this is all the time. And people are buying all kinds of weird, like, wacky domains anymore too. The .ai extension. So right here, .com is an extension. It's a domain extension. There's a extension called .ai, which is actually a country extension. So if you've ever seen like .us, .uk, .de, .de is for Germany, I believe, and .ai is for like Antigua or something, something I can't pronounce. It's an island type country, but because it's .ai, people are using it who are interested in the whole, artificial intelligence, AI type stuff. And those domains are going for a lot of money. And so if we have time here, I'll pull up a website that shows you some of the sales recently for those too. All right, let's get into myths. Myth 1 is you need experience. I guess what kind of experience? If you can click the mouse and type on a keyboard, it's basically all you got to do. So it's a 2-step. This is a 2-step process, guys. You like purchase an item online, resell the same item online at a higher price. It's like going to a garage sale, buying something, turning around and posting that thing for a little bit higher price on Nextdoor or whatever app marketplace. It's the same exact thing, except it's a different item. It's a different type of item that you are turning around and reselling. So no, you don't need experience. But going through this training is going to put you way ahead of everybody else because you'll understand, first of all, you'll understand the type of domains that you should be looking for, and why you should be looking for those, because a lot of people waste their time and money going after domains that are just never going to return any kind of investment for them. They're just not worthy of their time. But they get into a weird mindset when they're doing searches, and they get caught up in the buy, sell, auction type stuff, and they buy a domain because it's a scarcity urgency play at these auctions. And you feel like because you win something that you've won the lottery just because you quote unquote won, but that doesn't mean that you're ever going to get your money back from that, because you got to then turn around and find a buyer that fits that specific domain and willing to pay you more than what you just paid. So there are very specific types of domains that I'm going to tell you to buy, and that experience alone from going through this is going to put you way ahead of everybody else. But do you need any experience and specifically before going through this training? Absolutely not. If you have an internet connection device, you're good. Need to live in the US and speak English. I literally got this question. It's really two questions, but I got it from the same person before they ended up jumping into this training. Like, it didn't really, it's a valid question, but no, no is the answer. Domains are purchased daily all over the world. And I would venture to say that the US probably isn't the biggest buyer of them. I just don't even know. I don't have any stats to back that up, but you don't need to live in the US or speak English. You don't ever have to talk to anybody on the phone. You don't, I thought I had more on that slide. You don't, it's just, again, buying an item, reselling that item. A lot of times you will never know who you sell a domain to. If it's a marketplace type deal where you're just posting your domain in an online area to sell it, you'll never know who bought it. You just won't. It's just part of this, I call it a game, but part of the game. So myth number 3, no passive income potential. Lies. Those are lies. There are a number of passive income opportunities available to domainers. Domainers is like a phrase or term that they call people who flip domains, or people who specialize in the buying and selling of domains. So I'll touch on this in a few different sections actually in this training. This one is a good one. It's always funny when people say, yeah, but all the good domains are gone, man. It's been 30 years almost since you could buy domains. All the good ones have to be gone. No, they're not. So yeah, I was just thinking of something that I might end up doing here in a little bit. It'd be if we do take a break here, I'll have to boot up my local what do you call it? I'll talk about it in, later on, but I want to show you how to quickly identify available domains that are worth money to you and quickly. Truth is, they're not gone. The biggest thing is, like I said earlier, knowing what qualifies a domain as quote unquote good. Then you need to know how or where to find those good ones. So that's it. That's really it. You don't, they're not gone. First of all, there are tons and tons of domains you can buy if you want to spend a bunch of money, but I don't ever recommend anybody buy premium domains. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Myth number 5, takes forever to make money. I mean, no, the buy and hold strategy does. But dude, I'm not a buy and hold guy. It's just not me, not in my DNA to buy and I'm just too impatient for that, which is why, literally, why I'm teaching this because it's probably, I think this is the last myth. Saved it for last because I feel like everybody doesn't even give the strategy the time of day because of this myth. So hopefully by the end of this today, you will be able to see that it doesn't take forever. You can actually make money today. No, it's not the last one. Need a big budget. You need $8. And actually, on another slide here later on, I'll show you how you can start for way less than that. All right, let's get into mistakes here. So, trying to think if, yeah, let's just go ahead. I was thinking about skipping this and doing it after strategy, but I did it for a reason. So mistake number one is overpaying for your domain. Just like real estate, your money is made when you buy, is what people always say. I'm not a real estate guy, but I've heard it over and over and it makes sense. I also have heard it in trading, stock investing, stuff like that. Meaning what this means is if you buy whatever you're buying, if you buy it at a high price, meaning you overpaid, you paid more than what it was actually worth. If you try and turn around and resell it, especially if you try and turn around and resell it like the day you bought it, which is part of my part one of my strategy, not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You can't buy $1,000 domain name, turn around and sell it for 2,000 to somebody who, they're just not going to pay 2,000. You should have paid $8 instead of 1,000. That's what it comes down to. Because in the first part of the strategy, it's not about buying a 2-word vanity brandable domain. It's not about that. That's part 3. Part 1 is totally different. So if you mix up what you're buying with who you're selling to, it's going to be chaos. So it's a huge mistake. Like I said, avoid premium domains when you're just getting started. I've bought, I think, a total of 3 premium domains, meaning, and a premium domain is a domain that's in the secondary market, a domain that is more than the average, than the regular purchase price, so that more than the $8 or 10 to 15, meaning you're buying a domain that somebody else already owns. So I bought one domain for 300, one domain for I think 900, one domain for 1,700 last year, last year 1,700. Those are the only 3 premium domains I've ever bought, and none of those 3 have I flipped. Shocker, right? So when you going after a premium domain, it should be for the reason of securing an online presence for yourself. It's not in the mindset of flipping, unless the premium domain is like $20 instead of 10, meaning the guy bought it for 8 and he just can't sell it. He's doing a poor job and just nobody is, taking part in the auction or whatever. And we'll talk more about auctions and all that later, so you know what I'm talking about then. But the moral of the story here is avoid premium domains when you're just getting started. If it's not available, if you can't just go to like Namecheap and type in a domain and it says, okay, you can register this, it's available, and the price is between $8 and $10 depending on who you are, if you already have an account or not. If it don't get premium domains. And then I'll show you here in a little bit where they tell you if it's premium, but you'll basically be able to tell because the price is going to be way more than the average $10 to $15 price. So the goal here is to look for what I call diamonds in the rough, and talk more later on about that. But kind of already did. It's going out and finding these domains that people have either overlooked or don't realize that there is potential income or profit is a better word to be, to be had for that domain. And there's a process that you can use to find them. All right, mistakes. Mistake number 2 is legalities. So the biggest one is copyright or trademark issues. If you just don't know what a domain is, why it could be a good 2-word domain, but you have never heard of the thing that they're talking about. You don't know what it is. Look it up probably. If it's a brand name or a product name, stay away from it. You don't want to get in trouble for using somebody else's copyright or trademark in a domain. And yesterday actually saw a couple domains that were crossing the line pretty heavily, and they were asking 5 figures for these domains. When I was finishing up these slides, I was going through a few different marketplaces out and auctions, and I saw brand names inside of the domain being mentioned, and they're selling them for 5 figures. My only thought is they're trying to sell it to that actual brand, but even then, I would never even be in that game. It's not worth it. Instead, you want to focus on categories and niches, basically like solution and or business niche type stuff, which as we go through the strategies, I'm going to be showing a number of examples, and it'll make more sense as we get through that. Mistake number 3 is people making assumptions. Just don't assume anything. Don't assume the demand potential, meaning don't assume that there are existing buyers already out there. Again, it's about getting caught up in the auction of getting caught up in the scarcity and urgency of an auction. If you're trying to buy something at auction, just because people are bidding on it doesn't mean that there is existing demand already for that niche or whatever, that domain. Don't assume that there is profit already. Assuming what's called what I call time to sell, and in other areas it's called cash conversion cycle, meaning how long is it going to take you? What is the time period between the day you buy it and the day you sell it? Don't assume anything when it comes to the time to sell. Don't assume that you can flip that domain today. It really is just going to come down to researching before you buy. It's simple, like as you see the examples later on, think about who is the buyer and go out and look. Are there potential buyers? Or maybe you already know. Knowing is different than assuming. Assuming means I'm just going to buy it and there will be buyers, but that's an assumption. If you know there are buyers, it's a different story. So don't assume anything with this, because it's just going to cost you money, really, is what's going to happen. Stake 4 is being unprotected, and it means a few different things. Being unprotected as far as your domain transactions, the buying and the selling. Don't do deals via email or have people send you a Venmo. The biggest thing is if you are buying, like in the domain transaction space, if you are buying, don't ever buy a domain with unless you act like unless you know the person, it's a different story. But don't buy a domain. Don't just give somebody money for a domain outside of a network or a marketplace or like an escrow type deal. A lot of these marketplaces use what's called escrow, where it protects the buyer and the seller. The buyer has to pay the marketplace, which then the money goes into escrow, and then the seller once the seller receives the money from that escrow, they can then they or sorry, once the money is in escrow, the buyer, the seller, then initiates the transfer of the domain. Once the marketplace is notified the transfer is complete or initiated, the money is then sent to the seller. That way, it's a protected transaction. There's just no way to do it if you're not. There's no way to keep your stuff protected if you're doing it like offline kind of deal. The second one here is unprotected registrar accounts. And unfortunately, this happened to us late last year. We lost, somebody stole, really. They stole one of our domain names because I didn't have two-factor authentication set up. So all of your registrar accounts. So a registrar, like I said, is a where you go to register your domain. It's the GoDaddy, Namecheap, Network Solution, whatever. Set up two-factor authentication on all of that stuff because, and this happened. They hacked my Network Solutions account, and they would have had to hack my Gmail account because you have to, like, Network Solutions made them send an email to my Gmail to confirm the transfer of the domain. So they hacked the Network Solutions account, went in and initiated a transfer pretending to be me, transferred it to their own registrar, and they would have had to confirm that inside of my email account. So they hacked two different things. But if you have two-factor authentication set up on the registrar, they just won't be able to get into the registrar. That it's a very secure way to protect that account. So do that. And domains themselves, they can still be, hacked, or a DDoS attack is where they'll drive thousands and thousands and thousands of bots to the site to overload the server. But if you use something like Cloudflare will block those attacks, and Cloudflare is free. So for your domains, if you are using them with like a website and not just parking them or whatever, then make sure you use something like Cloudflare. That way the domains are all protected and you don't have to worry about any of that. So I just basically said all that. Goal is to use buyer seller protection, two-factor authentication for your registrars, and Cloudflare for your domains. Okay, well, we're getting through this pretty quick, so that's good. All right. Just trying to think if I do want to take a break, when to take the break, because I want to be able to, there's something I want to show that I don't have ready. Of course, it's in typical fashion, but you know what? Let's go through a couple, or at least the first strategy, because I really not going to need to show that until the second or third, probably. So, all right. Before we get into the strategy, I want to kind of rant here a little bit because it's part of what I already talked about. But as marketers, internet marketers specifically, we got into this niche for the reason everybody else did. We were told I can make money from home without doing anything overnight in my sleep. We all look through that lens to judge potential opportunities, unfortunately. So I got to manage expectations here. And everything that I've said already, and even the emails leading up to this, it's 100% true. Can you make money fast flipping domains? Yes, absolutely. In 24 hours or less, you can. But fast money is just that. Comes in fast and it's gone, and you're back to chasing it again. That's the game you want to play, great. And I'll show you how to do that in a second, because that actually is part one of my strategy. I do recommend you chase the fast money. But that is not the entirety of the strategy. Because if you want to produce consistent, reliable income like any other business, you have to treat it like a business. So lucky for you, I'm going to show you how to do both simultaneously. And what I mean by that is a hybrid strategy. It's actually a 3-part strategy, not a 2-part, because you can be a 3-part. You can make even more money by adding the part in the middle, and the part in the middle is the consistent, reliable income part. So let's go over just as an overview of the strategy. I'm going to tell you kind of all 3 parts, why each part is there, and then we will get into the specifics of those 3 parts. So, and this is probably where we're going to have questions if you do have questions, because this is where we kind of get into the nuts and bolts of this. So again, as a question comes to you, if you're on here still live, go ahead and pop it in the Q&A box. All right, so the first part 1, is what I call fast flips, and this is for immediate revenue. This is the turning $8 into $1,000 in less than 24 hours. The reason that I'm wanting you to do this is, first of all, mental motivation. It proves this concept works because you get that instant gratification of money in your pocket. It also allows you to cover expenses, registration fees, if you want to use research tools, etc. That's the type of stuff that you can then fund those things because you've got that quick income. And it allows you to do what I'm calling inventory investment, which is buying more domains or hosting or content, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Part 2 is what I call cash cows for monthly revenue. This is what turns this from a side hustle into an actual real business, and keeps you afloat during those slow months so that you can, obviously keep the bills paid, but also keep growing and building this business. I call it's a quote unquote business because it's very, very minimal. But if you do it the way I'm showing you how to do it today, and you start it this way, it won't take long before you will literally replace your income. Third part is brandable behemoths for massive paydays, and this is the future bank stuff. And future bank is how you literally become wealthy. Those are like what I showed earlier on with the top 5 domains ever sold. I'm not talking like that kind of future bank, but 5-figure payday type stuff. It allows you to just explode your inventory level. multiply your monthly income because you can continue investing in more inventory, more domains. You can build out some of these sites that you prefer to build out and then hold and use for monthly revenue. Before we get in, so that is a strategy, sir. Those are the three parts: fast flips, cash cows, brandable behemoths. Those are all three things that I'm going to recommend you do simultaneously as you from day one. And what I mean by that is you will be doing all three of these things so that as you are getting income immediately from these fast flips, you're using part of that money to do these two things down here, but you can continue to do fast flips to generate that initial revenue. And it's kind of a bootstrap type strategy. So domain flipping profit allocation, big words, right? So what this means is, what do you do with the money you make from your first flip? That first $1,000 that comes in, or whatever, first $100 from flipping a fast flip. What do you do with the money? What do you do with the profit? Is the best way to put this. That's what this is showing you. You got it. You buy a domain, you got that registration fee, you immediately flip it. What do you do with the money you made, the profit you made? That's what this slide is all about. What I recommend is putting no more than 50% in your pocket. Again, you need that instant gratification, that mental motivation to show you that this works. But obviously you want to do this because you want the money. You need the money for something, right? That's the only reason you're on this training, is to learn how to make money. This is a way to put money in your pocket, but also still grow and build and grow a business at the same time. So no more than 50% in your pocket, and then the other 50% for inventory investment. And here's how that 50% breaks down. So I recommend you use 20% of the 20% on domains. So flat, all three of those. However you want to divide them up. If you only got, if you're buying, like you just flipped your first domain, it's the only domain you got, then I'd recommend buying at least another one of these, if not two. And any leftover from this 20%, pick one or the other, or if you got enough to get two, depends on what you sell, what your flip is. Could be $100, could be 1,000, whatever. But this is the percentage breakdown I recommend using. Then the other 30% I recommend on cash cow properties. So new cash cow build outs, cash cow content and research. So I'm going to talk about what, first of all, cash cow property is, what a build out is, and the content and research. So I'm going to get into strategy number one. And I think after number one, we're going to take a break. I know we're only 45 minutes into it, but a couple of different reasons. I want to get something prepared down here that I got to load up so I can show you, but I also need to take a break anyways myself here. Strategy number one, fast flips explained. So you're going to find an available unregistered domain with immediate profit potential. And what I'm doing here is showing you how to identify the best type of domain for a fast flip. And so what this means, available unregistered domain, means not premium. It means that you can go to Namecheap right now, type it in, and it's available to buy for $8, $9, $10, whatever they pop up for their domain price at the time. Next, the time to sell must be extremely fast, preferably 24 hours or less. And the way you're going to be able to know that is on the next slide, where I show you the best types of domains to use for fast flipping. So the goal here, obviously, is to turn a profit, period. The amount of profit does not matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you turn a profit. Taking action, getting in motion is only going to help you. And if you turn a profit at the same time, there's nothing at all wrong with that then. So here are the best fast flip domains, the best types of domains to go after. The ones that have tons of potential buyers available. So this is where people, again, you cannot assume. You can't go in and just say, oh, I'll be able to find somebody for that. No, find somebody before you buy it. Literally go out and research, go to Google, type it in. How many X's are in X, or in Y, whatever. Make sure you do this research before you just jump in and buy a domain. What I'm going to recommend the most, the number one thing for this, are local businesses. They are absolutely great as fast flip buyers because first of all, there are hundreds of the same types of local businesses all across the country in every city, and every single one of them is, first of all, local businesses need help, guys. They just do. They need help from people like us. That's completely off the, not even related to this, but they need help from marketers. And if you can get them a great domain name, and it could be a second domain to one they already have, because it's something that can rank eventually maybe for them, or it's more of a branding type of thing. So I'll show you an example here. Name niche.com. So like Mike's landscaping.com. Think of how many different Mikes there are in the landscaping industry across the country. Mike's landscaping is probably taken, but I don't even know. I didn't look. That's just an example. But another example is, then the better one is cityniche.com. So here is a domain that I purchased. I don't know, a month or two ago. It was available. According to GoDaddy, hey, there's an image. Look at that. According to GoDaddy, this is GoDaddy's domain appraisal tool, which is a free tool. You don't even need to log in. That domain is worth $1,053. Literally bought it not even a month ago or 2 months ago at the most. Excuse me. So and the way that this is how they get their data. Comparable domains sold. So they're basing this off of very comparable data, domains that were sold recently. Houston Lawn Care, Augusta Lawn Care, 1750. That's where they're coming up with this number. It's basically an average of those three. But think about how many different cities there are out there in just the lawn care niche. Right? Like that, this is the turn $8 into $1,000. This is it right here. Because I could go to Google right now and find probably 50 different lawn care businesses just in the city of Conroe. And all of them would want to buy this domain from me and easily pay $1,000. Because you know why? When somebody that lives in Conroe, Texas needs their lawn mowed, they go to Google and they type in Conroe lawn care, Conroe lawn mowing. And there's the iterations of this are endless. And I've got a number of these domains just like this that are all worth 1,000 or more. And it was kind of a discovery that I made during the 24-hour salesman, because I bought so many domains, like over 100 or more, because I bought a bunch for myself, 150, where I learned that there's still a ton of these available, even 2-word domains, 2-word city domains, that are worth thousands. The day you buy them, they're worth that much. So like that is the the best fast flip type of domain that I would recommend. Now, is that the only one? No, there are obviously tons of like think outside of the box and get creative using what I just told you here. The cityniche.com, like the type of buyer. See how I'm talking about buyers ahead of time. This is where when I talked about mistakes, don't assume there are buyers, but I know there aren't buyers. I know there are buyers. Obviously, I've done the research ahead of time. I went to Google. I already knew because I'd had that conversation with my lawn guy, and so I was looking at his website. But at the same time, I'm looking at all these other people that literally don't even have a domain name, because you go to Google and you type in things that you type in Conroe Lawn Care, and the first thing that shows up is the Google Map Pack. Shows the 3 of the best listings, and maybe 2 of them have a website and 1 doesn't. And you click on it to see the rest of them, and there are a bunch of them. They don't even have websites. They just got a phone number and an address. So that's basically what I would recommend buying, like the best fast flip type domain. So I see your question in there. So he's asking, how does it appraise to that price from $8 to $1,000 in one day? It was this price the day I bought it. It's not this price because it's already owned. You can go to Google's, not Google, GoDaddy. Let me pull it up over here. You can go right here, godaddy.com/domain-value-appraisal, and just type in any domain name. So I'm going to show you one. Which one was it? I can't remember which one it was now that I was looking at, but you can use this tool before you buy a domain. So like a domain that's already available, meaning it's unregistered, it's $8 on like Namecheap. Before you purchase that domain, you come here and you can see out of the gate, it's already worth more than the $8. So, and I believe their auctions section even shows appraisal value. No, it's not auctions. It must be auctions. It just looks different than it did yesterday. But they show like in the auctions, they'll show somebody selling it for $300, but they'll show the estimated value like right here. It's just not showing up for some reason. As more than what it's selling for. You can do the same thing here. So I just can't remember what that was that I had in there. I don't know if it was this one or not. Nah, that one's less than 100. I'll come back to that because I think I have it on later on. But what to answer the question, it appraises at the price that GoDaddy thinks it's worth, whether it's registered or not. That's the best way to put it. So obviously don't buy a domain that they are selling for $1,000. Buy a domain that is available for $8 to $10 and is already worth the $1,000. Okay. You know what? So I think I have here. Yeah. So that is the first part. That's strategy number 1. I'm just going to answer. I only got a couple questions here. I'm going to answer these questions and then we'll take a break before we move to strategy 2. So first one here is when do we get access to pick our free domain name? So if you were one of the first 20, I'm in the process of sending that spreadsheet out to the people in the order that they enrolled in this training. So it's going to take a little bit of time because each person has to get the spreadsheet, make their decision, tell me what that decision is. Then I get the spreadsheet back. Then I send it to the next person. So it'll it'll come in the order of which you were enrolled. Next question is there a tested way to approach these local business that allows the best chance of successful sale? Email, and that's the next question. Actually, email is, again, I don't talk to people ever on the phone. I just don't. It's not me. Email is at best the only thing that I will do for communication. And I keep it very, very straightforward. Don't put bodies of text in an email. People just won't read it. The subject line, question, one word. The subject line is one word, is question. The body of the email says, I'm selling conrowlongcare.com. Would you be interested in purchasing it? Dustin. That's it. That way I avoid all kinds of questions back and forth to, avoid the initial engagement email and all that. Just straight to the point. I don't put the price in there initially, because again, the price can be negotiable. What if they want $900 instead of $1,000? That's going to be your choice, not mine. So, some people would be ecstatic for $900 when they paid $8 the same day. So yeah, email is the best way to approach them. Just how I just said. Subject line, question. The body is, I'm selling whatever the domain name is. Would you be interested? And then sign your name, first name only. Send it from a Gmail address. That is literally the selling aspect of this strategy, number one. And selling, I have a quick slide at the end, but it's just a kind of a talking point type thing. So that was the outreach is what that's called. So I'll reiterate that one once we get there. But yeah. So yeah, would you then email potential buyers? Yes. So that is the third question there. So okay. All right, let's take a 10-minute break so I can get this this other thing set up. I also need to take a quick break myself. So 10 minutes, let's do, so it'll be what, 11:08 my time up here. If you can see that, I don't know if you can see this or not, because I only got it set to Chrome, but 11, let's just say 11:10 a.m. 11:10 a.m. Central Time. That way, it's an even round number. So I will we'll be back here at 11:10. All right, guys, I am back. So, trying to find a way to show you what I was talking about earlier, and I got a couple things here, but um, the the problem with the GoDaddy appraisal tool is that they limit the number of like searches or queries you can do to check the domain value. So I've already hit my quota, I guess, or whatever you call it. I already closed it, but I'll pull it back up to show you what happens here. There was one that I was doing. I'm just doing something off screen here to be able to look up what I can't remember which one it was. Yeah, but it's oh, it is working for me now. But so this was one of them. ChristianGuide.com. You can see it's a premium domain. It's available to purchase for $2,200, and the estimated value is $6,200. So that like kind of feels like you would be able to make quick money, right? Like, why would you not do that and turn around and resell it right away? Well, how long has this person been holding on to ChristianGuide.com and trying to sell it for 2,200? That's the question you have to ask. And where are they getting this number from? Because over here, nothing is over 4,000. So it's part of this is part of the research process when you get into what we're going to be talking about here in the next two strategies. Strategy number one, you don't necessarily, it doesn't matter. Meaning like you're buying a domain for $8. Like, don't ever buy anything that isn't $8 or, the typical 10, 15, whatever the available domain price is, whatever registrar you're using. Just don't buy premium domains for strategy number one. When we get into number 2 and 3 here, this is where more research comes into play, because I still don't recommend you buy premium domains for number 2, strategy 2 and 3, the cash cow or brandable behemoths. Because there are still tons and tons and tons of available domains available. When I say available, guys, just know that what I'm talking about is nobody owns it, except nobody owns the domain yet. You can go and buy it for the typical 8 to 10 to 10, $15 range. Nobody owns a domain. That's what I call an available domain. Premium domain is a domain that somebody owns and now is reselling in the secondary market. That's what this is. It's somebody owns it. You can buy it for $2,200. So, I see a couple questions of that, and that's why I paused there, because I would like to just answer them while I'm here. So the appraisal tool is GoDaddy limits it. So you can go up here and try and type stuff in, and eventually you're gonna hit a snag where they're gonna say like, let me just keep typing some stuff in here, where it's gonna show like you've exceeded, instead of showing this, it's going to show you an error message that says you've exceeded your maximum attempts or whatever today. And it just did that over on my other screen here during the break, but now it's working again. So the way to get around that, though, is to use a browser like a VPN. This is what I use here, BrowseSec VPN. It's a free browser extension. You can change your country to whatever you want, and then it works. You just have to refresh the page, but it works perfectly. Once you do that, then GoDaddy lets you continue searching. So let me see what's another one that I've got? I'm looking at my other screen. I'm gonna show you what I'm doing on this other screen here in a second, but it's not necessary yet, I don't think. Yeah, right here. So this is how it starts. We've run into a technical issue. Please try again later. So let me go back to the main screen. So now it works again. But eventually they will block your IP address. That they'll limit the number of searches you can do based on your IP. I don't want to say block. They know your IP address. That's where the VPN comes into play, because this changes your IP address. And they don't know that resets the number of searches you can do. But so this is kind of a part of the research process, but I'm going to show you something else here that I use that I've been working on it for a long time, and I've had some time to work on it this week. I just didn't have enough time to have it fully ready for all you to have it here today, but I will be giving it to you. So another question: what do you do in strategy 1 when no longer business income wants to buy it? That's when you I'm actually going to talk about that, Dan, here in a little bit. I don't want to get too far into that here. So I will answer that question here in a second. What else? What else? So I'm going to do setup over here so that we can continue. And then I'm going to go back. I'm going to show you this. The tool that I've got over here, my other screen, is my own personal tool that I've created myself that is in very, 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 very like alpha stage, because I've coded the entire thing myself. And that's just a weird pastime hobby of my own, but I enjoy doing it, but I also enjoy the reason why. I'll talk about it in a second. All right, let's do number 2. Strategy 2, cash cows. Find an available domain. Again, remember what I said, between 2 types in my mind. This whole masterclass, when I'm saying available or when I'm saying premium. Available is you can go and register it right now for the typical $8 to $10 to $15 price. Whatever like, I use Namecheap, and their prices are $8. That's why I've said turn $8 into 1,000, because I use Namecheap. They're $8. Can you get it for more or less? Yes. Every registrar is different. If you haven't ever registered a domain, there are tons of ways to get your first domain for pennies, or a couple bucks. So find an available domain with monthly income potential. And you don't know what expired or aged domains are. That's basically a domain where somebody registered it a long time ago or a couple of years ago, and since then they've let it expire, and now it's back on the market as an available domain, meaning it's available for the low $8 price, but it still has that aged history to it, meaning somebody was using it. It's got maybe it's got some backlinks or whatever, or some kind of whatever SEO crap. I'm not a huge, so far away from SEO anymore that it's not something I'm ever going to tell you to do. But if it's there and you have a choice to pick one with SEO, one without, for the same price, why would you ever not pick the one with SEO? That's what I call an aged domain, a domain that was purchased earlier on years ago. Maybe it's got some backlinks. Maybe it's got a little bit of rankings even still for that domain. If they're, if it's probably not going to rank if it's expired, because the domain's pointing back to the registrar now. But we'll talk more about expired domains here later on and how to find those. There are, tons of free expired domain tools out there. I don't even need to get into that, but So with the cash cow strategy, the whole thing is about building out a property online. And this is the typical internet marketing property, the everything that whatever people teach, the blog, adding some blog posts to it that are unique, and then kind of just letting it hang out. And then you can throw some ads on there to monetize it, or you can monetize it with however you want to monetize it. This masterclass is not about building a blog or monetizing a blog. It's about domain flipping. So if you got questions on how to build a blog, how to add content, how to monetize, like, feel free to ask. I will, any question I'm going to answer, but I'm not teaching that specifically step by step in this masterclass. It's not what this is, but it's kind of self-explanatory. There are tons of YouTube videos on how to build a WordPress blog. Any host will pretty much give you a one-click option to build a WordPress blog. Then you can throw some unique content on it, throw some Google AdSense on there, and at least get it started. Over time, you can continue to add new content. And if you want to, a lot of people like to do SEO stuff. They like to do backlink type things, outreach, whatever you want to do. The point here is this is a 3-part strategy, guys. Like, you should be doing all 3 of these things simultaneously from here until the cows come home, basically. And eventually you can get away from doing strategy number 1. Strategy 1 is the fast flips. That's the kind of like, grassroots type, get out there and feet to the ground, work, to make money. Initially, that's what businesses do that are bootstrapped. They get out there and they make money however they can make it, and use that money to build the business. That's where they get their startup capital. They don't rely on VCs or whatever to generate their startup capital. They go out and make it themselves. That's what the strategy number 1 is. The fast flips. It puts money in your pocket right away, and allows you to generate revenue to build this business going forward, generate monthly revenue, generate like potential future big money later on, while still bringing in money, daily or weekly or whatever. If you just work this process every day, it's consistency. And anymore, that's what I'm finding myself, that consistency is king. It's just true. I've heard it from actually, like, stuff that's not even related to marketing, but so I won't get into that. Okay. Best cash cow domains. So the best type of cash cow domain to buy is a domain where you have the potential to build out a content site around it. And guys, if you haven't heard of, like, if like content scares you, unique content, and you haven't heard of like all of these chat GPTs and Jaspers, and they will literally write all of your content in seconds, and it is good enough to satisfy at least my needs for unique content. So I'm going to pull this up here. I had a whole boot camp on this last December, where I showed how to create an authority website. And this was the site I created in the gardening niche. There are about 50 blog posts, I think, is what I did in back in December. You can see December. It looks like December 30th was the last day that I posted, because every single day was a post. Every single one of these blog posts was written by Jasper. So Jasper AI. And all these images just came from free stock sites. And what's crazy is that a couple of these have gotten like, they're ranked. Unfortunately, I had a hosting issue where my hosting was shut down for like a month, or no, not a month, a couple of weeks. So none of my sites were live, and I didn't realize it. And I probably lost a lot of these rankings. This view counter is not accurate anymore. It was showing 30 or 40 views on a lot of these, but it like reset. I don't remember. I think there was one for like mint crepe. I don't know what it was, lilacs. But anyway, the point of showing you this is that all of this content, literally every single word of this content, was written by an AI that I didn't do. All I did was went and type, like, write me an article on how to propagate lilacs. And it spit out 2 or 3 options. I picked the best one, and then I copied, pasted. I just did some formatting to make these headings be, how to just separate the content, make it more readable. And then threw some ads in here. So I did this site for our backyard growers, just a way to generate more leads for that business. But anyway, just wanted to show you that it's super simple to like create a content site, like really fast. Like you can go in and get 50 articles done with these chat GPTs, Jasper. Like I'm not up to speed on any of that, but I use Jasper for this. I was blown away with the quality of this content. It'd spit out 600, 700, 800, 900 word articles in seconds, on tons of different, like hyper targeted long tail keyword type stuff. So fruit trees you can easily grow from seed. That's a hyper keyword, a hyper long tail keyword. So if you're afraid of content writing, that's your answer, because I hate it too. Sorry. Okay. All right. Information-based niches are best. So just like I showed you, Grower Digest it's all about propagation, how to grow, but also how to sell plants. So people are going there to consume information. Think about that when you're doing, again, I'm going to say this over and over today because it's the most important part of buying domains, flipping domains, making money flipping domains, is your money is made when you buy. If you have not done the research on who is a potential buyer, you're done. You're dead in the water way ahead of time. There's not a chance to even sell anything if it's just not sellable. And that is what I'm showing you here. So cash cow domains, there needs to be a potential to build out content, which obviously the content is information based, and that's why these niches are the best. So I'm going to show you, I don't remember how many examples, but just at least one. So last year, I wanted to get into the credit niche, because it's just there's a ton of money there. And I'm going to probably show you my tool here in a second that I use that I used to discover this exact domain name. I bought credittutorials.com for $8. One of the first 20 people to enroll in this training is going to get this domain, because it's one of the 20 domains. Here's another one. Ketoheadlines.com is currently available. And this was one I think I showed earlier because it's one that is, I feel like this number is just wrong. So that's another a good talking point for right now is this GoDaddy appraisal tool. And during doing a bunch of research in domain flipping over the last year or two, everybody and their brother says this is a great tool, but take it with a grain of salt as far as the dollar amount they give you, because it's only as good as a piece of software can be. But when you look at when you look at where they're getting this number from, this specifically does not match up. Headlines, what they're saying, is a valuable keyword. It's a high value keyword that has an average sale price of $33.29. Yet they're saying it's less than $100. And keto is in the health niche, basically. So the top three niches are health. They're always, and this is just across the board: health, wealth, relationships. It just is what it is. It's always going to be. A lot of the big niches, they will fall under one of those three categories. And there just maybe isn't a lot of traction in the keto niche, according to according to GoDaddy, which is insane because that's just wrong. Because I'm going to show you here right now. Oops. Ketotips.com is a premium domain that's available for 19,000, basically 20,000 bucks. If we go to ketotips.com, it redirects to a parked page, basically, that's showing it's for sale. There's nothing on no content site, nothing. It is literally a brandable behemoth. That's my definition of this domain. So them saying that keto headlines is only worth $100 is actually wrong. And the point of me putting this in here is to show you that not only can you register it for 19 cents if you've never bought a GoDaddy domain before, but it's immediately going to be worth more than 1,000 in my opinion. But you won't kind of know that until you start getting into this and realizing like this tool is not that accurate, especially when all of this, they've got this data right here. It's right there. Even if you take an average of those three numbers, it's going to be more than $100. It's got to be 65, 199, and 4,400, more than 100. So it's not accurate all the time, but they give you the data that they're using to show you that's where this tool is worth. It's free, but it's worth using because they're showing you the data that's relevant to the appraisal. So that I guess that's my point, is just you got to just start diving in and doing research once you get to this stage. And that's really where like what I love to do. I don't know, I just like get lost in domain searching. So that's where I created, or why I created this little thing myself. You can see it's on my local host. That's what I had to do over the break, was get this set up and running. Because it's just a local website I created on my own computer, but it uses APIs to check availability. But it also, the biggest thing is that I've built in a bunch of different types of domains that you can check all at the same time. So let me do credit. So I don't. So I'm going to type credit for the keyword. I'm going to leave it as all categories. So it's going to run through all of these preset options, and it's going to spit out the ones that are available. It's going to show the ones that are taken. I've also made it even better. I just haven't had a chance to finalize it, because what this does right here, this current version, doesn't show premium domains versus just available. So some of these, like credit headlines, could be a premium domain, but I'm not going to know that until I go look, like over here. So credit headlines. So that's actually available. Or did I spell it wrong? Credit headlines. So for the heck of it, I don't know if they're going to let me do it, but let's just see what it's worth. So it's available. This is my process. So, and eventually I'll get it to the point where it'll show me the, what I wanted to do was get it to where the GoDaddy domain appraisal value just popped up in here at the same time, but it's just not going to happen because they limit their API on that. So this is available. You can see $8. Let's just see if this works. So immediately right there, $1,700. You can buy it for a penny. So if somebody is not going and buying this, he just bought it. Tony already said, I just bought it. That's the power of this tool. And because look at all of these different variations. So you can see credit tutorials is available. Why is it available? That's the problem with this thing, is it's just not the let me go back, show you what do credit not showing in there. Let me just do keto. So this is the newer version. Or taken domains are gray crossed out. Available are the, what I define as available. For sale are premium. So if we go to American Keto Association, it's premium, $1,000. So that's why it shows for sale. You go to National Keto Association, it's available for $8. So this is the newer version. So there's less like wondering it, because in this version, it doesn't show for sale. It doesn't show the difference between available and premium. You got to go and check. Like this one, like Keto News, there's no way that's not premium, right? So it's like, pretty sure it's 40 grand. Or it's just not even for sale anymore. There was one of, Keto Tips is what it is. That's what it is. It's 20 grand. Okay. So this is the tool I came up with. There are more variations, but like literally every single one of these, what I used to do is I used to go to Namecheap and type the variation, type all of these variations in when I was interested in a niche. That is basically why I created this tool, because I was wasting so much time, hours of time, looking at each individual niche, trying to see if any of these variations were available. So that's kind of why I created this tool. So I guess that was the main reason for showing that. Yeah, credit tutorials is I own it still. So I don't know why it's showing as available in this tool. Again, this tool has bugs because this version, the newer version that I showed, I just haven't had a chance to integrate it with all of these different categories. But it'll get there eventually. Yeah, credit tutorials. You can see I bought it last year for $8. As far as I know, I still own it unless I've had so many issues with my credit card expiring and haven't updated it that it's ruined a number of different things for me online. But last I knew, I owned it. So again, you saw online or live there. You could buy credit headlines, and Tony already picked it up for a penny. Again, if you don't own, if you already like $22 is insane to pay for new domains. Like that's why I don't use GoDaddy. I use Namecheap because it's $8. It's $8 whether you're a new member, a new visitor. Sorry, no, it's $8 for existing customers. New customers, you can get Namecheap domains for I think $3.99, I believe. So the way to do that is to go to Google and just type in cheap domain names and look at these sponsored ads. Usually Namecheap will have one, but because I'm logged in and they know my history, do it on like an incognito window. And you'll see ads for Namecheap, GoDaddy, GoDaddy, obviously. But used to be where I think it was Namecheap that ran it. They had an ad just standing all the time, 99 cents. It was a Namecheap ad, just like this, but it was up here in the ads section, and it was a Namecheap ad where you type that in, click it, you can get a domain name for 99 cents, and it's the same, same exact domain name. But yeah, that like it's like a weird like addiction once you get into trying to find available domains like these that are immediately worth money, and you only pay $8 for them. That's literally what's happening, is that this tool pulls out, it checks all of these variations, because as a marketer over my many years doing this, I've found that these variations are what marketers gravitate towards, all of these different types of things for different reasons, media brands or catchy domains or personalized like quiz type stuff, or authority domains or informational. If you're selling a guide or a book or an ebook or like a ClickBank type thing, these are going to be the domains that you're going to use. So that's why I created this, because I was wasting a lot of my own time trying to do these searches individually to see if the domains were available. Now I can just go here, type the keyword in, and hit search. I just added this categories thing because I wanted to make this available to everybody here, but I'm still going to. I wanted to do it before we started this, but just didn't get a chance to switch it over to where all the categories are working. It's just that this association one for right now, all I got to do is switch a couple code things, but then it'll all show taken, available, or for sale. For sale is premium. I should just say premium instead of for sale, but I wanted to make sure people understood what premium meant. All right, so let's keep going here. The third strategy, brandable behemoths, find an available, short, catchy, usually keyword-based domain. So that's where this comes in. So let's say that you are interested in dating. Dating is a good one as far as money goes. Let's just see what's available. Dating headlines. That's kind of a weird one, but might be worth some money. I don't know. Yeah, it's available, but it's a premium domain. That's where mine, this one, you got to keep checking. Trends. So right here, informational, still working though. So this is gonna adjust here. Dating guide, I'm sure is premium. Yeah, registered in 1999. I don't know why it says available then. But again, this is kind of why I created this. You know, you can go in and find it's a quick way to find available short, catchy, keyword based domains. You can see a lot of them, close that. A lot of them are short, catchy. I even have a section, I think, for short, catchy, but short, catchy more is like almost like made up, unique, memorable. So you can see under there. Dating tutorials, I'm guessing this is not accurate. Let's see. Yeah, registered in 2007. So this version is a little bit outdated. I just needed to get it updated so that it shows taken, available, for sale. But anyway, that's the, like, this tool just saves a lot of time. So the thing with brandable behemoths, this is a long-term play. It's a park it and make it known as for sale strategy. Just don't list the price. And why don't list the price? Because you might be selling yourself short. But if people don't know it's available to buy, so I don't remember which version, which domain it was. I typed in to Namecheap. It just said premium for sale, didn't list a price. That's basically what you want to do. You want people to know that it's for sale and they can make you an offer, but you're not saying I'm only going to sell it for 20 grand or 40 grand or 100 grand. So I think I'm going to show this here in a little bit, but so this is one of them. That's a good example. Just shows premium, meaning it's for sale. You can click make offer. But I'm going to show you in a little bit here what their price is. So brandable behemoths, short, catchy. Personally, if you, I mean, credit card gurus, 3 words, but personally, I try to go for 2-word domains. Not saying you can't get a ton of money for a 3-word. It just depends on the niche. Like in the credit space, tons of money is thrown around every day. So you definitely can. But I like 2 to 3-word. Personally, I like 2-word domains. Like I said, it's a buy and hold strategy with the goal of eventually just having a big brand approach you with a high 5-figure or even a 6-figure offer. And I'm going to show this site here right now because it's in the tools section, but it is relevant at this point. So it looks old. It is old. 2003. dnjournal.com. They've got tons and tons of really, really great info on here. If you go to so domain sales report, it's going to show you stuff within the last week or so. So theride.com, 38,000 apprenticeships.org, 33,000. So AI is a huge thing. Like I said, there aren't many available many available AI domain, one word AI domains. If I could just talk to that left, but they are worth money. I actually found one yesterday because I was just what I do. I'm telling you, once you start doing this, it gets addicting. Not sure anybody would buy this, but it's available. It's a one word AI domain. This is the typical available, quote unquote, available price for AI domains, $80 a year. And it's a lot, but so like that's where you need to know, like going in, don't just buy stuff and hope somebody's gonna buy it. Like you have a strategy ahead of time. Who would be a buyer of swollen.ai? I feel like what happened back, so that like in 2017, a lot of these one word domains got purchased. So what was the one I looked up yesterday? $4 million. 4 million. That's nuts. But a lot of these got bought back in 2017. Not sure why. It might have been around the time AI started getting big. People started, seeing it as a trend, and then we're like, "Oh, I'm going to scoop up." But I think what happens is a lot of these registrars actually buy them themselves, and that's kind of part of their game. That's how they make money themselves too, is they go in early and scoop up the quick one word stuff right away and then resell it. I don't have any data that proves that, but that's my opinion. So back to this site, the year to date is pretty cool too. It shows everything that, the high dollar amount stuff, but it gives you an idea of what people are paying money for. It's just interesting to look and see, like, really, you paid that much money for that stupid domain? Like ECL, 600 grand for ECL, or text.com, 300 grand, HDL, Palestine, like just kind of weird stuff, Stone Age. But it kind of, and it blows my mind when people are paying a lot of money for domains with weird extensions like this, XYZ, Clockwork XYZ, 80, almost 80 grand. Socrates XYZ, 74 grand. The reason that I'm showing you this is to show that people or companies are willing to spend money if it's the right domain for them. So that's why you don't just go in and like on a whim say, I want to buy smurfshoes.com because I feel like somebody was going to buy that eventually. No, go in and know, like, oh, there are X number of potential Smurf shoe companies out there. And then that is the reason why you buy. There's a difference between knowing there's our buyers and assuming. Don't ever assume anything with this, but that's why these tools are so valuable. This is a great website to just dive in one night, if you're bored and just look and see what's happening. You can get on their email list too, and they update every week, I believe, with new so like right here with a new weekly, like, top of the chart type stuff, like what happened with the top domains that sold this week. So when you're going, this is, again, everything that I'm teaching today is not a pick one of these. It's do it all. Do strategy 1, 2, and 3. Don't just do number 1. Don't just do number 3. The reason I'm teaching this is because it it encapsulates the internet marketer and kind of solves the problem of shiny object at the same time, and it gets you that instant gratification at the same time with building uh, a recurring revenue type business, but you're also gathering inventory that's valuable over time. You're investing while still earning money. That is the biggest thing that I feel like domainers fall into the trap of, is they feel like they just have to do a buy and hold. Everything is buy and hold, buy and hold, buy and hold. And eventually somebody's going to come to me and say, I want to buy this. Well, maybe, but definitely not going to if they just go here and it just says premium without a price, put up a and this is I'm talking about for number 3, put up if I go to Credit AI, I haven't yet. Let's just see what happens. So this is a parked page that is, so Dan.com was one of the first domain reseller type companies, which is now bought by GoDaddy, looks like. Put up a parked page, a page that says, hey, don't just make it to where somebody types this in and they get page not found. Do like, this is better than nothing. Look at this, make an offer, type it in, hit next. Like, do this, put up a parked page for your behemoth brands. Because if you don't tell people that you are interested in selling, they're not ever going to ask. It's too much work. They'll just try to find a different domain that fits what they're doing. Instead of, if you would put up a thing that said, hey, I'm willing to sell this, make me an offer. I did this recently. There was a domain, I think it is nursery. No, I think it's backyardnursery.com. Backyardnursery.com. Let me go in here. So you can see it was registered in 2003. I really, really, really wanted this domain. So I went here, make offer, took me to domain agents. I put in an amount and I offered, I think I offered the minimum, because I mean, she had owned it for 20 years. They've owned it for 20 years now. And I really would like to own this domain. It's kind of like playing Monopoly. I guess that's part of why I like this a lot. It's like playing Monopoly. Like, I want Park Place, but I made them offer 200 or 300 bucks. They came back with 600. Like, I want it, but I mean, it was more, again, it's like a game, because I don't need it, so that's just one of the things that you have to consider when you're doing this, is how I wanted it, but do I need that specific domain? Like, is it really going to be necessary for what I'm trying to accomplish here? And the answer is usually no. But if it is for you, then go ahead and do it. But don't intend on flipping premium domains. This is the advanced section of this masterclass, where you got to know going in. Again, you got to know buyers. You got to know, could this turn into exponential money for me based on what I paid for it? Because this is a long-term buy and hold strategy. It just is. Don't think you're going to buy something and flip it the same day, buy it as a premium domain and flip it the same day. It's just not going to happen. All right. So the best types of brandable behemoth domains. Obviously they need to be brandable or be able to be adopted by a brand. Again, I try to stay away from anything that's a copyright trademark infringement. Just don't do that. Again, like the credit tutorials one is the best way to do it. 2-word domains are best. Age and SEO value don't matter at all for this, meaning, so if you're looking at like, what was the other one I typed in for that? Let me just refresh this because Keto Tips is one. So if you go to, if Keto Tips has no SEO value, it does not matter. And even age, like just because it's been purchased and held forever, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter a whole lot. If SEO is your only game, then SEO is your only game. Then only buy domains with SEO value. I can't tell you what to do in that point, but if you do buy a domain that's been is aged, it's an older domain, it has SEO value, then it would obviously increase the value. But don't just choose it. Don't pay extra for it, because it does not matter in this case. If you look at a lot of the top selling domains, the ones that have made them millions and millions of dollars, they have no SEO value. They have brandability. That's it. It's a vanity type play. It's a brand saying, we want to invest in this domain because it suits our brand. It's if people go and type in X and find us, then that helps our brand. They associate that domain with our brand. That's exactly what this is. So keyword-based domains are best. So credittutorials.com could easily be sold to tons of different credit monitoring companies, debt relief companies, personal finance companies. That's what you have to think about. Notice how the exact way I'm wording it is what you need to think in your mind before you go here and register this domain. You got to know going in who is going to be a buyer years from now, because this is, again, it's a buy and hold, park it and list it strategy. Could credit tutorials be used for cash cow? Absolutely. That's why I put it on that screen, because it's informational based. And if I did that, that's where, if you take the time to do this, let me go back. If you take the time to build up a whole content site around this, and like credit tutorials, if I went in and added 50, 60, 100 blog posts and let it sit and then keep adding blog posts, keep adding blog posts on a continual basis and keep it updated and relevant, then this domain just continues to get more and more value. And at that time, they're not only buying the brand, the domain, they're buying the property, the real estate. The real estate is worth more when there's a house on it compared to when it's just bare land, right? That's exactly what that means. That's the cash cow, is building a house on your property and letting it return in revenue to you every month while you're waiting for someone to come along and buy it. This doesn't need any kind of property on the real estate. This is specifically picking domains where people can see their company adopting it as part of their brand. So, what is I can never remember the name of that. There are tons of credit type companies that have been, bought and sold, and huge companies just go in and like snag up existing brands because it immediately elevates their entire brand. That's where this comes in. But it all starts with knowing who could potentially be your buyer. You cannot ignore that part of it. What I love about this is there are so many different niches that you can get into where this is still available. Credit tutorials, like something like that. Like I love that I found this domain because it really it opened my eyes to think like, oh man, there are still really good domains available that companies would literally pay 5 to 6 figures for if you let them know it's there. Like I don't know why I can't think of the dang. Of course, I deleted it, but the companies where you can go in and create a profile, check your credit score, and all that stuff. I just can't. It's just not coming to me. But anyway, you got to know the buyer ahead of time. That's really what it comes down to. So, like I showed earlier, creditcardguru.com. This is a screenshot I took yesterday from cedo.com. You might as well just go over there and show you. So if you go to Cedo and you type in your keyword, you can see I typed credit in, hit search. Sort it by price. Get rid of that and variations. So to my point of keeping it only to 2 words, free consumer credit report is 4 words, and they want 1.8 million for it. So credit card guru is somewhere here. Right here. You see somebody's already made a bid on it. 500 grand. It's a 3-word domain. But the reason that I'm showing this specific domain is that it is informational keyword based, meaning only reason somebody would buy this domain, creditcardguru.com, is so that they could post or put content up on the screen that teaches people about a specific topic. Because that's where I feel like we as marketers can add the most value here. Is like if you look at a lot of these, it's a very specific how to get a credit.com. Like what? Credit energy, that's a very brandable name type play. Credit scored as like, in my opinion, they're not ever going to get $1 million for that. Credit card poker.com, like credit card guru. It's probably one of the reasons why it's got an actual bid, is because it's worth money. It's a 3-word domain. There are millions and millions of these domains available, guys, for $8. You can buy them for $8. And every year you can pay whatever. I think the renewal on Namecheap is $14, something like that. So even if you held it for 10 years, you're at a $200 in expense to hold it for 10 years. There are thousands of companies out there that are going to want to buy your domains, but you gotta figure out who those companies are first. Don't just go out and buy random stuff. Have a plan. Go in thinking like, okay, would somebody buy bibleofdating.com, datingforbeginners.com? I feel like that's definitely not available because it's a really good one. It is available. Datingforbeginners.com. If you're watching now, and you're looking for something to buy, I would go ahead and buy it. I don't know that it's worth anything according to GoDaddy. $724. There you go. Buy it for $8 on Namecheap. It's worth $724. Hold it. You can build out an information cash cow information site. Maybe a mentor or guru will come along and be like, hey, I'll give you 15, 20 grand for that. And it's a huge payday. 15 or 20 grand. It could be even more than that. It could be an app, a Silicon Valley based company with VC money, who is building an app for dating for beginners, and they want this domain so they can use it for advertising. That's what a lot of these companies do, is they use these domains for vanity purposes and put them on billboards or use it in ads in social media, whatever they're advertising. That's where these things come into play. But that's where this tool, like, man, I've bought so many good domains from this, so I will continue working. It'll only take me, it's not going to say continue working. I just got to switch a few things so that all of these categories look like the association category. I just picked that one first, so that you don't have to waste time wondering, is it available, or is it actually premium, or is it taken? Because some of the results were actually taken, but it was just the technology I was using. So, okay. I think we're winding down here to close to the end. So we're getting to tools. If you guys have questions, now is the time. I will, we got a number of them in there. I'm going to get to them in the Q&A section at the end. There's just a lot that I can't do like step by step. And if you have questions on that, I get it. So that's why I wanted to do this live instead of just like pre-record it and shoot it out, because I want it to be dynamic to where I can go and open a tab and like, okay, well, this is how you do it. So ask the questions now if you're on here. I don't have a ton of people on here, but if you're on here live, go ahead and ask questions if you got them. All right. Excuse me. So I'm just gonna I should just put all these up here. Okay. These are the basic domain flipping tools. And by basic, I mean basic. There are probably hundreds out there, including tools to help you find expired domains. If you've been in the domainer niche for a while, you probably already know the expired tools. I'm pretty sure it's expireddomains.net. Just go to Google and type how to find expired domains. That was one that I just didn't put in here for as far as research goes. But so the first one, GoDaddy's appraisal tool. I've shown on there how to do that quite a bit. It's, again, take it with a grain of salt, but they do have the data. You can see, like in this one, maybe the reason for putting it 724 based on these numbers is because of the word beginners. But in my opinion, I think it's the word dating, because it's in literally the top 3 health, wealth, relationship. You got dating mixed with beginner. That's why I have it in this tool. Go back there. Yeah, because literally these were all the domains that I would go and search manually, and I kept track of them, and then I added them in this tool. And it just takes some time for the tool to go out and make sure that everything is what it is. It has to check each one individually. But And it looks like somebody already bought dating for beginners now. So that is now no longer available. So there you go. That's how fast it happens in this niche. It's about identifying the opportunities before other people do. It's the diamonds in the rough, and that is, I feel like that's what I should call this tool. Is the diamonds in the rough. Is that as marketers, we have searched and searched and searched and have done so much more research than anybody else. And we just know what turns into profit and what doesn't. And that's the best way for me to explain why I chose everything you see in this tool as far as an option for domains. NameBio is another site you can use for determining how much a domain was purchased for. It's for looking at like research of sold domains. So you can see, like, okay, you can type in a word and see how much domains were sold for in this niche. So that's NameBio is a good tool for that. DN Journal, I showed that up here. It's a great tool for looking at, what domains were sold and how much they were sold for and what niches they were in. So like I said earlier on, I'll show the registrars I recommend. These are the three in order. Namecheap is my favorite, then Cedo, then GoDaddy. Doesn't mean that anything else outside of those three is bad. It's just I've stuck to those. I've probably got over 150 domains registered inside of Namecheap. I've got probably 20 in GoDaddy. And I haven't done a ton in Cedo. Cedo is what I've used for premium stuff. So I just, I don't want to have a bunch of stuff scattered everywhere, but those are the three that I use. Oops. All right, buying and selling. So this is the, where do you go to sell your domain? If it's, maybe a cash cow or a brandable behemoth. Cedo is a great place. Afternic, GoDaddy Auctions, Flippa. So if you're looking to sell like an actual site with content, obviously Flippa is going to be the best. Because that's beyond a domain. It's a property at that point. Cedo, in my opinion, is the #1 place to go for just domains. I feel like they are the best option for the buyer seller protection as well as marketplace type stuff, meaning you can do auctions, you can do buy nows, you can do it's for sale, click here to go look at the site. They give the best options, I feel like, for domainers. So all right, selling. This is the last category, or the last section here. Just gonna put all these up here. That's all I got, but we already talked about a lot of it, so I put it at the end because I knew that I would cover it pretty good detail throughout the masterclass here. So outreach, like I've said, email is the best way for outreach. There's only so many ways. It's either a phone call or a letter in the mail. Email is the fastest, easiest way. Again, this goes back to strategy #1 with the local businesses, really, I guess, is the #1 candidate for that. But email subject line of question and the body of I'm selling whatever the domain name is, or would you be interested? Question mark, sign off with your first name. That is literally the outreach email that I use. And I've done it successfully with a number of different ones. And like somebody asked, if you don't, what if nobody's interested in conroylawncare.com? Then it turns into a cash cow. it turns into, okay, no, well, let me just put up a quick blog, put up, you don't even have to do, so for local stuff, don't do a blog because this, you don't need to. Like you literally need to, this needs to be a one-page website where it's for instance, conroelawn.com. And you can use Jasper AI or Chat GPT to come up with some content on what you should look for when hiring a lawn care specialist in Conroe, Texas. And when you put that up there, the whole point of that is to get it ranked. That's it. So no, like when somebody asked in the Q&A, what do you do if nobody's interested in buying that domain? Then it turns into a rank and rent type of situation. But it should never turn into that situation. If it did, then you just picked the wrong domain to buy. You got to go in knowing I've got X number of buyers available, and somebody's going to buy this. And in my opinion, again, I want money and I want profit in 24 hours. That period. I want profit. If I paid $8, I want profit in 24 hours. Profit could be $9. Just get into the mindset of strategy number one. Strategy number one is not, excuse me, is not a buy and hold. It's not buy and hold. It's a buy it and flip it today. And I don't care if you make $1 or if you make 10, if you make 1,000, flip it today. The goal is to flip it today. That's it. Flip it today. No, strategy number one is flip it today. It not only cements the fact that this works, there's a whole lot of mental stuff that as internet marketers we need. We need the justification of this works and the proof of it working to be able to continue doing it. So when you do it today, it flips today. I don't care if you make $1. Again, if I go back to that, I'm not going to go back to that slide, but the slide said something along the lines of this needs to generate a profit. The amount of profit does not matter. And I said that for a very specific reason. Like I just said, it's about the proof that it works, the mental motivation, and then you take if you didn't get any, if it's $1, let's say you make $1 on it, whatever. First of all, you help somebody, like helping people is, in my opinion, the main reason that I do this, why I'm spending my day today teaching you this, because I like helping people, and knowledge is power, and we all need that power to be able to wake up every morning and make the world a better place. It's not always about making a huge profit. But in this case, it's about proof. So that's where the outreach comes in. That's the strategy number one. Marketplace auction, you can use it for number 2, number 3. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like I said, Cedo is good, GoDaddy Auctions is good. There are a number of other ones. I would recommend one of those too. Because of the exposure. So when you do a domain auction, you want exposure to your auction. You want exposure to your listing. You want people to know, hey, I'm offering this for sale. You want to get as many people as possible, many eyeballs as possible on your listing, so that the more scarcity and more urgency is added to people to keep bumping it up the price. Like, okay, well, I want to spend 20 grand, 30 grand. Okay. The more exposure you get, the better off you're going to be. Another option is a broker. I personally have never used brokers. I've had tons of them approach me. I've actually met a couple in mastermind groups. So it's crazy, but all they did was broker for domains. I actually had dinner and drinks with a guy who's making tons of money. He was in a $25,000 a year mastermind group. with me and is making tons of money only brokering domain sales. At the time, I didn't have that many, but he said one of them that I had was easily worth 15 grand. I just chose to hold it. But brokers are people that have experience. It's, you know, it's kind of like hiring a headhunter when you're looking for a job. They are the middlemen. They've got the contacts, they've got the knowledge of how much it's worth and the experience. They'll tell you like, hey, don't ever settle for less than X. Unfortunately, I can't point you in the direction of any good brokers, but if you obviously go to Google and just search it, you're going to find some. But I wanted to include that because for people who didn't know, I've never done this before, that is an option. If you stumble upon a domain that, nobody else has and it's worth tons of money and you only paid $8 for it, maybe he could get you, tons and tons of money in return for it. So the last strategy is park and list, which I've already talked about. That's the, like what I said, somebody goes to, if your domain is for sale and they go and type it in, what are they going to see? You don't want them to see a blank screen. You want them to see a screen that says, hey, this domain is for sale, make me an offer. So that dan.com GoDaddy listing, I don't remember what it was for. Maybe it's probably gone now, but I don't remember what it was for, but go back a little bit earlier and look. That's the exact page I would use if you are selling a brandable behemoth type of thing. Because anything else, cash cow, you're going to have a site on there. Even if you have a site on there. A good example would be one of my own that, again, this is going to be one that somebody gets. So this is one of my just parked kind of domains where I've got RSS feeds coming in. You could have a banner up here that says this domain or this website, in this case, because it's a website, not just a domain, this website is for sale. Click here and make me an offer. It could just even redirect to an email, you don't have to have a website or anything like that. So that is basically it, guys. That is it. Questions. Now we're at like 2.5 hours. I am getting to the point of being drained. I can't. I used to be able to do stuff for like 5-6 hours, man. But anyway, I'm gonna start answering questions here. So, any last questions you got? We don't have a ton of people on here. Put them in the Q&A box, and we'll get them answered. If you're watching this as a recording, if you're watching as a recording later on, feel free to email me. I can't guarantee you like a time frame of when I'll get back to you, but I will eventually. So let's dive into these questions here. All right, so Brian's asking, you are targeting businesses as opposed to individuals. I guess like pretty much everything online is going to be business related in some instance. You asked this at a specific time and I didn't catch it, but I don't want like the relevance of the question, I guess, is what I'm missing. But targeting businesses have money, individuals don't. So like, I don't really know who you would target as an individual as far as registering a domain for, but yes, businesses are who I'm targeting, whether it's a local business or not. When you think about something like, whatever that was, dating guide or I don't remember what it was. It's now we're here. Dating for beginners is now taken. It's going to be an individual buying the domain, but it's going to be business related. Hopefully that answers the question. How to receive payment from US local business from outside of, say, Germany. So Vladimir, like there are many different options. I honestly don't know. I know, Germany's a great place. I just don't know the available payment options. If you're talking like the turn $8 into 1,000 today. It's something you're gonna have to talk to the person about. Wire transfers can happen all over the world. So that's personally what I would recommend is like, hey, here's my bank account info, wire me the money. Once I receive the money, I will transfer it to you. If they want a secure way to do that, then you're going to have to go through one of the domain marketplaces that I've mentioned, Cedo, GoDaddy, whatever, and just list it. But you can also list it as private that way. It's not an auction where people can bid on it or something like that. Next question from Vladimir as well. How do cash cows domain actually bring cash? How do they get traffic? So the main, again, this is not that course, but like I said, I told you can ask these questions. So the way that they do it, I showed you the Grower Digest site. The way that this gets traffic is solely by SEO. So any of these pages that have views, they all came from organic SEO. There is no other way this site is getting traffic. And that's where unique content comes into play. And you do it with long tail keyword. If you didn't go through that boot camp in December, that whole boot camp was designed to show you how to get immediate traffic from SEO using like AI generated content like Jasper. And I got 50 some plants here, or 50 some posts here that I put up like extremely fast. I just did, I think 2 a day during that boot camp just to keep people on track. And it was a work along with me type of thing where I said, hey, today we're doing, you got to create 2 posts and they got to be in this category. You can see I got different categories here. So it's about organizational structure at the same time. So these categories are organized to where they show, they tell Google like, hey, this post is about this. And Google literally pulls in this hierarchy right here and they show it. Again, my counters are all off, but there were a number of posts that were already up in the 30, 40 views. And I had just posted them. So this one's 13 again already. How to sell plants locally. It's 100% organic SEO. That's how they get traffic. And the way you advertise is up to you. If you want to just do AdSense, you can do it that way to make money. It could be affiliate stuff. It could be your own stuff. There are tons and tons of ways to monetize websites. Next question is, will you go over your process to know who the buyer may be? So it's going to be kind of a dynamic thing. The local strategy is easy. Let's say cityniche.com. You go to Google and you type in city, whatever the city is. So let's say Conroe, whatever the niche is, let's say lawn care. And you type and you hit search, those are your buyers. In this case, in let's say strategy number 2 and 3, you have no idea who they are, right? You like to start out with like, who's going to buy datingforbeginners.com. The point is, you don't need to visually see in your mind who that buyer is. You just need to determine whether or not somebody could potentially be a buyer. It's about thinking about, okay, well, this dating, again, it's now taken, somebody on here probably already bought it. This is available for $8. And GoDaddy is saying it's worth $7.24 today already. and I could buy it for $8. I could buy it for a penny if you buy it through GoDaddy and don't have an account yet. But who would be interested? It's about going out and doing that research, and again, it's just using Google and typing in. But as marketers, we kind of know if it's in health, wealth, or relationships, which is what this is, somebody is going to be interested. So it's very easy if it's obvious like that. So if it's not obvious, if it's in an off the wall niche like quilting or random like that, then you're going to have to go out and kind of do your own research on that. Next question is, do you think a domain like tomscredit.com would be good for the fast cash strategy? I saw it had a pretty good appraisal value. Not really, Daniel. Well, I don't want to say not really, because if you're willing to do the work and to find all the Toms out there in the credit niche, then you can sell it, and you probably can sell it for a good chunk of change. But I can't guarantee it's going to happen today. The local business niche is just dying. They are so desperate for help from marketers. And if you send them this email and they say, the ConroeLawnCare.com is available, and they say, I might be interested, and they start asking questions and they get a feel for who you are, it's just way better for the fast cash strategy, or fast flips, like the local type stuff. With the fast flip, is the meaning to contact the business by email to sell? Yes. That's how you get them to that's the only way to get something fast, is to let people know you have something for sale. If you wait around for somebody to stumble onto a listing online, could take days, weeks, months, years even. You got to let people know it's available. You can email them. I mean, you could send them a letter in the mail, but that's not today. It takes time to get a letter sent to people. So next question is, what are the best sites to sell them on for strategy one, and any tips to do that? Mark, I probably answered that since then. I like, in this case, you probably shouldn't list it on a site. You shouldn't list it as an auction or for sale. The fast flip is go buy it and then be like, email people, I got this for sale. They're not going to even know that there are domain marketplaces available. It's these offline local guys. That's why they need our help so much as marketers. They are dying and desperate for help. Just approach them with an email and do business like a human being, and don't screw them over. Next question is, once acquiring these domains, do you usually list them for sale on the same name registrar you bought them from, or what marketplace do you recommend to sell these domains? I don't list them. So I prefer Namecheap myself, and this is a preference thing. It's going to be the preference thing for you. I like Cedo, and I like GoDaddy auctions. If you're doing an auction, Cedo does auctions as well. I prefer Cedo. So like, you don't need to do it on the same registrar. A lot of them you can, but I like the ones that get you the most exposure without having to do any self promotion. Next question is, do we get access to your domain software? Yes, eventually. As you can see, it only operates locally on my own computer because it's literally PHP files from my own hard drive. My plan is to get it to be a live website on a domain that I will end up hosting it on. And once that happens, I just can't guarantee when that will happen. But understand that like you can go out yourself and manually search all of these things like I used to do forever. Like just the different variations of domains to search for uh is valuable in and of itself. Like I've given out lists of domain ideas in a number of my courses, like Affiliate Ground Zero. Those are the generic, not generic, the very initial lists that I used to go off of when buying domains, but now I've since added tons of them to this thing. So, when you get the recording, you can go back through here and pause this and kind of look at all the variations up until the point I get you access to the software. But it's like calling it software is kind of a weird thing for me because it's just a page, but it is technically software. Next question. You can still have RSS feeds going to your domain site. Do you recommend that? That's more of a cash cow approach where I'm not just buying a domain and holding it to sell it. It's I make money from that website every single month because there's content there. There's a reason for people to go. But at the same time, if you want to sell, like the cash cow strategy is not about selling right away. It's about building up a property that will be valuable to somebody years from now, or even months from now, maybe. But you can list, you can't say at the top, hey, this site's for sale if you're interested. That may or may not hurt your traffic, but when I put all this together in I've had this in my mind forever. And when I extracted it and put it out on these slides, the cash cow strategy is not about getting money for your domain or your property. It's about building up a property that you could eventually sell, but during that time, while you're waiting, you're generating income from it, even if it's just a little bit of income immediately. So no, my tool, the software is not for sale. It won't be for sale. If anything, it will be free. That in my mind, it's for me, but it's also obviously for everybody that has gone through a training where I've shared and shown it. But when I put it up online, it's just going to be for free. I might monetize the site with some ads or something here or there, but it's a tool that I've created for myself. And I know other marketers will benefit from it, so it won't be for sale. But I'm going to make it available as soon as I get it wrapped up, which when I get some time, I will. It likely won't be till next week. I'm going to be out of town here in the next couple of days with my youngest son. Is the boot camp available? Yes, if you email me, I can get you a link to where you can purchase that. All right. So this is the last question I have, guys. If you got any final questions, put them in here. Last question: how often do you recommend searching and buying domains to get the full benefit of this business? Well, Bruce, if you go back through and look, it's a 3-part strategy. Every part of this strategy revolves around investing in inventory, which is, can pretty much be said as domains. I always, if this is the thing you want to do, and you've chosen this as your way to quit your job and provide for your family, then I would recommend buying domains all throughout this process, but only follow my process for buying the right domains. Know ahead of time that there are buyers who will buy this domain from you. and make it known that these domains are for sale. If it's strategy 1 or 3, strategy 2, you have the choice of just holding them, building content around it, and then eventually saying, hey, I'm going to sell this. It's for sale. Let me know if you want to buy it. Or you can just include a banner at the top that says, hey, this is for sale. So I recommend searching and buying domains all the time. I don't feel, because eventually you're going to run out. You're going to run out of stuff to sell. It's like inventory. If you don't continue buying inventory, you will eventually get to the point where you stop making money. And that it just depends on how many cash cow sites you have, what the income that's being generated from them, because it will take time for those to generate income. That's why this is a 3-part strategy. If you want to keep making money initially fast, you got to keep flipping fast stuff. But during that time, it only makes sense to build out strategy 2 and 3 so that those are future bank type stuff. And I feel like searching and buying new domains is just part of that process the whole time. Okay. I have no other questions here. So if anything pops up after this, let me know. Just shoot me an email, and I will get this recording out to everybody as soon as Zoom makes it available. So thank you, everybody who is here live. I appreciate you being here, and I will again, I'll get this out as soon as I can. So thanks. Have a great day, guys.